Hey everybody, hope you're doing swell out there today. Uh, Man, I'm going to talk about something today that I think we've all been through in the bass fishing world, and sure enough, if you fish tournaments, uh, it's just having a what they call a slump. You know, just things don't go right. You just can't seem to. You just the fish don't get in the boat, or decisions aren't right, or just things just don't come together for a spell, and you just kind of hit a lull. Maybe you went through a spell of doing really well, and then it just begins to, and you seem to just get in a rut, and you just can't seem to get out of it. And man, here a few years back, it's been really a lot of years back, 10 years ago or so or better. Man, I was in one of those. I just couldn't seem to break free from it. I had great equipment. I had everything under the sun I could use to fish, and man, I was just going to tournament after tournament after tournament, and just might have a good pre-fish, have a horrible tournament, or just have a horrible pre-fish and a horrible tournament. Just it was like I couldn't do anything worth a darn. I mean, it didn't matter what decision I made, it didn't matter what I did. It just wasn't coming together, and it was a really frustrating time because I knew how to fish. I knew I'd already hit that spot, but I just couldn't seem to get free from it. And I just, at one point I was finally like, man, I don't know what to do. And I remember digging through some old rods that I had, and I had this couple of old rods that I had been using, and I'd bought new rods and got away from some of my old stuff. And I was happy to have new stuff because I always just used what I could get, and I'm super fortunate nowadays to be able to use all great Shimano equipment nowadays, and it all works out great. But if I hit this lull again, I ain't gonna say I wouldn't try this trick again. But I'm gonna share a little trick with you that saved the day for me during a slump that I had. And at the time, uh, I had really good equipment, good new rods and reels. But man, one day I was just reminiscing through some old rods and reels, and I came across this old rod that I had caught. It's one of the rods I bought when I was really young, probably in 19, 20 years old, and I'd used it for years and years and caught so many bass on it. I mean, I think my brother bought one first, and then once he used it, I was like, I'm getting me one of those. And so I bought one, and just caught a million bass on it. But over the years, I'd retired that old rod to buy better rods and put it away. And I picked up that old rod and I began to pick it up, and man, something just began to, down deep inside of me, I could feel it. And so I took that old rod and I've got it right here. And I've kept it my whole life. This thing, as you can see, it's broken. It's trashed. I mean, you can tell I've had different rod wraps on it. I've tried to keep it alive as long as possible. And so what it was an old all-star jigging rod that I used for everything. I mean, it was just, this wasn't a high dollar rod, but it was nice at the time. But I retired it. But when I picked this thing up that day, reminiscing, I felt some magic. I could feel my mojo coming back a little bit. I could just go, man, I've caught so many bass on this rod. I can catch bass. So I got me a Shimano, one of my newer Shimano reels at the time, bolted it onto this rod, tied my old favorite spinnerbait that I always threw on there all the time, and headed to the next tournament and went to catching them. This rod stayed with me from there on out until I finally broke it. Whether I used it or not, this rod was staying in the boat one way or another. And not to be superstitious or anything like that, but this rod, I could just look at it and go, man, you know how to catch fish. Let's catch them. I almost made an All-American on this rod that very same fall of the year I was slumping so bad. It began to send me on a different path. From there on out, I kind of got my mojo back and kept on moving. So I've kept this old rod. I've got it hanging on the wall. And every time I just think, man, I don't know how to catch crap, I go look at this old rod and I go, you're going to be okay. There's something to it, folks. There's something to it right here, and there's something to it right here when it comes to fishing. Don't let go of those old memories, and make sure you hang on to a few of those old things that reinforce who you are, that give you a positive vibe, because you just may need to go dig those out one day and go win you a tournament with them. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to put this back up where it belongs before it loses any more mojo.